Assalamualaikum, hello, I'm Muhd Zaki. It's Friday the 22nd of December and you're watching Central Tonight on CInfo. Our top stories tonight. The government bans Israeli flagships from docking and loading cargo at ports, addressing Israel's actions ignoring humanitarian rights principles and violating international law. Also, Health Minister expressed public concerns over COVID-19 cases but expressed optimism for managing numbers of restriction. And a senior police officer charged with the death of a Form 5 student in Ipoh sentenced to Section 302 of the Penal Code. Good evening. The Malaysian government has decided that ships flying the Israeli flag will no longer be permitted to dock in the country, effective immediately. According to Prime Minister Dr. Sri Anwar Ibrahim, the government has also prohibited any ship en route to Israel from loading cargo in Malaysian ports. These restrictions are a response to Israel's actions that ignore basic humanitarian principles and violate international law to conscious massacres and atrocities against the Palestinians, he stated in a statement issued this Wednesday. He stated that the government is confident that the decision will not have an impact on Malaysia's trade activities. The government has also decided to prevent ZIM, a shipping company with its headquarters in Israel, from docking at any port of Indonesia, according to Anwar, who is also the Minister of Finance. For the record, the cabinet began permitting ships owned by this company to dock in Malaysia in 2002. However, in 2005, the cabinet at the time granted permission for those ships to land in Malaysia. However, the current government has decided to revoke all previous cabinet decisions, he added. Due to public concern over the increase in COVID-19 cases, Health Minister Dr. Zulkifli Ahmad has not discussed reintroducing the Movement Control Order (MCO). In contrast to the early stages of the epidemic in 2020, he voices hope that authorities will control the numbers without enacting limitations.
Malaysia kini sedang menghadapi peningkatan kes COVID-19 yang mendadak. Itu kita akui. KKM berharap agar situasi ini dapat dilalui tanpa perlu mengulangi, saya sebutkan, tanpa perlu mengulangi sekatan seperti Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan PKP. So, kita tak bercakap tentang PKP. For the time being, kita tidak bercakap tentang mengulangi PKP.
In epidemiological week 50, Malaysia recorded 20,696 new cases, up to 62.2% from December 10 to December 16 over the previous week. 619 instances fell into category 3, 4 and 5, making up the bulk of these cases in category 1 and 2. 609 of the instances included foreigners, while the bulk concerns Malaysians. 19 import cases and 151 cases requiring treatment in the critical care unit were reported to the Health Ministry. There have been reports of 28 fatalities and 96 individuals requiring ventilators. The ministry will also employ a 5-pronged plan to address the growing numbers of cases, which will include increased alarm system, monitoring and community empowerment via TRISS, TRISS, which stands for Test, Report, Isolate, Inform and Seek. The ministry guarantees that public health facilities are equipped to manage an increase in patients and are prepared to mobilize additional resources when necessary.
Meanwhile, Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil has stated that the government has not instructed the government to make booster jabs mandatory for Malaysians due to viral social media posts about the increase in COVID-19 cases. Instead, the Ministry of Health has encouraged people, particularly those in vulnerable and high-risk groups, to take a third booster shot of the vaccine. This decision aims to provide an extra layer of protection against the virus and its variants. Fahmy also criticized claims that Chinese nationals participating in the Malaysia My Second Home program were eligible to become permanent residents and emphasized the need for a stringent screening process for those seeking Malaysian citizenship.
A senior police officer, Muhammad Nazri Abdul Razak, was charged with murder after causing the death of a Form 5 student near Sekolah Menengah Kesepasan SMK Jati on Monday morning. The case was assigned to the High Court by a team of 8 deputy public prosecutors. If convicted, the crime, one faces a minimum of 12 lashes in addition to the death penalty, or a minimum of 30 years in prison with a maximum of 40 years. The victim's brother and uncle are among his close family members. On February 7, the case was scheduled to resume upon the receipt of many reports, including the accused chemical report. Over 30 journalists and photographers were present, along with the victim's friend and relative on the court premises. Rafizi Ramli, the Minister of Economy, intends to launch a podcast chat show called Yambaka Menteri YBM that will allow anybody to have face-to-face conversations with him. Starting on January 8, 2024, the YBM podcast will air every 2 weeks, he said last Tuesday on his official Facebook page. We're already going to start a YBM podcast. Technically, it means Yambomak Menteri, but this podcast means Yambaka Menteri. According to Rafizi, the goal of the in-person meeting, possibly on the podcast that was recorded that evening, to allow everybody to see him without need for reservations. This is due to the fact that in terms of airtime, he claimed, being on television requires the payments of viewers. Anyone may listen to the YBM podcast: scholars, pro-government campaigners, regular people, and most notably, online opposition activists. In addition to individuals who willingly want to come forward so they may cook the minister, I'll also be looking for online opposition activists who engage in a lot of misinformation to come forward. I'll track them down, extend an invitation, and offer them an opportunity to interact. I have the opportunity to burn them, and they have the opportunity to burn me, he said. Rafizi contends that this sort of culture is preferable to the opposition current internet activist culture of swearing and bickering over tribal matters. The local government development ministry KPKT and minister in the Prime Minister Department, Federal Territory, Dr. Zaliha Mustafa, will talk about the idea of having local council elections in KL. More details.
Dr. Zalia has stated that while she appreciated the idea, particularly regarding local council elections in the federal capital, she felt that KPKT needed to be consulted on the issue. But we know that local councils are under KPKT, and I'm not rejecting its importance. So I will discuss with my KPKT counterpart, NGA Korming, to see how we can further study this matter, said Dia Zaliaha, who was moved to the PM's department from the Health Ministry in a recent cabinet reshuffle. She was addressing reporters following her attendance at last Tuesday's briefing and welcome ceremony at Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL at Menara DBKL 1. According to media reports, Tan Kokwai, the chairman of the Kuala Lumpur DAP, has urged the government to hold local council elections in the federal capital, saying that doing so would improve democracy in the federal territory. Tan stated that elections for local councils in Kuala Lumpur would guarantee sustainability and give citizens a say in who represents them. Dr. Zaliaha also stated that although the federal capital was previously under a ministry of its own, the Federal Territory Department will continue to function as a department and its management will be under the PM's department.
In other international news, the Colorado Supreme Court has removed Donald Trump's name from the presidential ballot for 2024, citing the U.S. Constitution Rebellion Clause. The controversial ruling determined that Trump was ineligible as a candidate because of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. Awaiting appeal next month, the verdict was placed on hold. Trump is anticipated to file an appeal with the US Supreme Court over the ruling. States other than Colorado are not covered by the ruling though. The Colorado Supreme Court reversed a previous decision holding that the president was exempt from the 14th Amendment ban on sedition since the president was not specifically mentioned in the clause. The same judges from the lower court also concluded that Trump had participated in rioting during a day of unrest at the US Capitol in 2021. A recap from the major stories from tonight's newscast before we end it. The government bans Israeli flag ships from docking and loading cargo at ports, addressing Israeli actions ignoring humanitarian principles and violating international law. Also have minister expressed public concerns over COVID-19 cases who expressed optimism for managing numbers without restrictions, and a senior police officer charged with the death of a Form 5 student in Ipoh sentenced to Section 302 of the Penal Code. And that is centered tonight for this Friday evening by visiting our website at bit.ly/CInfo portal and follow us on @CentralInfoMY on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and TikTok so you can keep up with the most recent news. Thanks for your company. I'm Muhd Zaki. Assalamualaikum and good night.